Hi, it's Paul from Model Builder International. Today we're going to have a look at a new book from Kagero. This one is in their Monograph Special Edition series. This one's all about the Rogozarski IK-3. Okay, let's see what's inside the book. To start with, this is Monograph Special Edition in 3D number 11. This is the latest in the series. They don't make too many of these. And this one's all about the Rogozarski IK-3. And if, like me, when you read that, your first thought was, well, where's that aircraft from? I haven't heard of that one before. Basically, it's a Yugoslav-built aircraft. Development started in the late 30s, roughly a contemporary of the Bf-109E, and performance-wise it's roughly equal to it as well. It was basically at that time a modern monoplane fighter. So this series of books basically go into more depth. There's usually about 200 pages, sometimes a bit more, well, usually a bit more actually, sometimes a little bit less. This one's 184 pages. And there's text with contemporary photographs, pages and pages of line drawings, 3D renders, colour profiles, and so basically it goes into quite a bit of depth. Often they'll cover just one mark of aircraft, like there's a whole book on the Bf-109F. There's another one, I think on the E, another one on earlier versions of the 109. So anyway, let's go through. The first thing is a complete set of 1/32 scale diagrams. And kits of this aircraft are available. There's a 1/32 scale kit. There's also, I think, a couple of 1/48 and quite a few 1/72 scale kits of this aircraft, plus a bunch of there's aftermarket decal sheets available for it as well. So anyway, 1/32 goes through basically first prototype, second prototypes, second production series, and bigger pictures there as well. I'll take a photograph of this, both sides of this, and put it on the other side. There's one with a Daimler-Benz 601 powered project. So just put that there. And then it starts off with, basically as it says there, a complete introduction, and it goes through a surprising amount of detail about the development of this aircraft, even down to whose attic the plans were stored in or hidden away in during the German occupation. And it goes through basically building the prototypes, variations of prototypes, things that were changed, the reasons for accidents to the prototypes. There's a wing that came off. There's some crazy wing testing going on there because of the wing that came off. Production versions. It actually goes through basically every single aircraft you can is tracked to see exactly what happened to it, and not only where it ended up, but also what it got up to while it existed. It ended into service, second production series, the German invasion, and it goes into almost every combat sortie flown by these aircraft during the invasion. It was only, what, about 11 days or so. And basically the airfields were overrun, which sort of ended the air war. There's some destroyed IK-3s in the background there, and another one. Basically most of the aircraft were actually destroyed by the ground crew, rather than fall into German hands near the layout of exactly where they were parked on Veliki Wadinci airfield when they were basically set fire to. So that sort of ended the development of the aircraft. But after the war, the plans were pulled out of one of the designer's attics, and it was used to develop the next version of it, which was the S-49A, which was completed by the end of April 1949, first test flight in June 1949. And again, that was looks a lot like a Yak actually, but it's just the different canopy, a different engine, and it was the first homegrown Yugoslav aircraft, and it was still in use as jet aircraft were being delivered to Yugoslavia from the United States after the war. There's one in a museum still. Camouflage and markings is all covered. Different type of paint. I think somewhere it even says here 30 kilograms of paint was added to each aircraft when it was painted. Different camouflage schemes. And now it goes into all sorts of technical detail. Basically there's photographs of everything. Using what they've got here, you could probably scratch build one if you wanted to. Shows you what was made of wood, what was made of rubber, the weapons used, and there's the appendices, various technical information. So 74 pages of basically the background of the development and usage of the aircraft. Then we get onto the line drawings. This is 1/48, starting with the early version of the prototype, final version of the prototype over here, and it continues through all these line drawings. Most of them in 1/48 scale, and it goes through all, should we say, the different prototypes, different versions, different projects. There's a project with a Daimler-Benz 601, two-seat trainer project. Basically you get port starboard, top, bottom, front, and another starboard view, port view. Then onto the S-49A, which is post-war. S-49C was a development of the 49A, but in many ways the C was harder to keep airborne or airworthy than the A. And then all sorts of different projects here. These are all 1/48 scale again. And then on this right hand page we're moving on to 1/72 scale. On basically the same diagrams as before, but in a new scale. Then we get on to basically 3D renders. That's the rest of the book. And there's a lot of 3D renders starting with the prototype. You get part views, and I see the camouflage scheme there. And there's a crazy amount of detail in these. Like I said, you can obviously see there's enough information in here to actually just build one for yourself from starting from nothing. That's the metal that was used in the aircraft. That's the wooden structure that was used in the aircraft. And then so on and so forth. The seat was always bare metal. You're going into close-ups, the main frame. So there's a lot of detail here. The undercarriage, guns, engine, quite a few different views of the engine, main armament, instrument panels. That's the first prototype. Then on the second prototype. Then get into production versions, and the size of the roundel and the wings changed from 100 centimeters to 70 centimeters at one point, and also what was on the rudder changed as well, and that's all documented in here, exactly when it changed. You can see here there's the first prototype. Basically that green is, it's a French green, so you'd have to do some research to see exactly what flavour of French colour is that green, I'm not sure to be honest. And then going through the different squadrons that operated post-war aircraft. And there you go, 182 pages, a couple of adverts about other books. And there you have it. Basically, if, should I say, unusual aircraft are your thing, or Yugoslav aircraft, then this book on the IK-3 will be a good addition to your library. Many thanks to Kagero for sending it along for us to have a look at.